Hello and welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute-a-day podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse, recorded here in the dining room of the Bible Bistro, located in Sharonville, Ohio. Welcome back to Daily Dose Radio here in the Bible Bistro. That's right, you found it, friends. This is the place for fresh, organic Bible study, served up daily here in the Bible Bistro, Monday through Friday. That's my little elevator speech. That's it. That's my elevator speech. 5 minutes a day, 5 days a week, studying the Psalms verse by verse here in the Bible Bistro. So today we're going to open our Bibles and look at Psalm 3. All this week we'll be studying Psalm 3. Psalm 3 is important in many regards. First of all, you'll notice if you're looking at your scripture, you have an introduction. And the introduction right there says a psalm of David when he fled from before Absalom, his son. So the introduction tells us something interesting. This is the first of the Psalms of David. There are 73 psalms in the book of the Psalter with this title, a Psalm of David. Some just say a Psalm of David. Some of them tell us much more, like this one. It gives us a little background, a little history. But 73, that's almost half. There's 150 psalms in the Psalter. 73 of them are a Psalm of David. So we understand then when people like Spurgeon call the Psalms the treasury of David, because half are attributed to him. Of course, there are some that have no attribution at all. We call those orphanic psalms. And then there are some that claim authorship from other people, Solomon, Moses, some of the other psalmists that are mentioned, Jeduthun, so forth, they're mentioned. But this one is one of the 73 that's a Psalm of David. It gives us a background. It says that it is when he fled before Absalom. So you can go to 2 Samuel chapter 15 and chapter 16 and read about David's flight from his son Absalom. There's another important aspect to this psalm, and that is that the church, the ancient church, has seen in this psalm and 6 others important reference to the cross and the passion of Christ. So here in Psalm 2, Psalm 22, Psalm 43, Psalm 64, and Psalm 83, and Psalm 108, all of these relate to the passion and the resurrection of Christ. And the ancient church saw this one as such a reference and used it to refer to his passion in the Old Testament. And I'm going to talk about some of that this week as we go through the story of this particular psalm. Of course, the historical background is when he runs from, and I've given you that passage. Let me read for you verses 1 and 2 of this psalm. And we have 2 selahs. This is the first time we've had selahs, so we'll have 2 selahs here. Let me read for you verses 1 and 2. O Lord, how my enemies have increased. Many have risen up against me. Many say of my soul, in God, for him, there is no salvation. Selah. Or, as the King James puts it, I'm going to read the King James a lot this week because I love the King James on this particular psalm. Many there be which say of my soul, there is no help for him in God. Selah. So I've translated that second verse, there is no salvation. King James has there is no help. What is meant here is the saving help of deliverance. God is not going to deliver him. So we have this psalm reflecting what those wicked heretics might say of any man of God who trusts in the Lord. Of course, that's what they said about Jesus, isn't it? There is no salvation for him. God will not help him. He trusted in God. Let him come down and help him now. Remember that? That's what the Pharisees said of Jesus when he was on the cross. And so we begin with how my enemies have increased. Of course, I'm sure David felt that way when it was his son who was attacking him. And as his son was attacking him, David had to flee from Jerusalem. The enemies increased. They've risen up against him. They say there is no salvation. There is no saving help, no deliverance for him in God. That's what the wicked always say. They still say that today. Now, that's important because in their words, there is no salvation in God. We're going to find out that, but there is, beginning tomorrow and going through the rest of the week, how God does save. I hope you'll join me then here on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. For more fresh and delicious Bible studies, podcasts, books, and more, check out the Bible Bistro online and on YouTube. Join me again next time for Daily Dose Radio.